I'm running out of time, every day goes by so fast.
So first, let's go with the Oracle decks. So the first one that I really like is the Living Will Astrology cards, and this is written and illustrated by Patrick J. Fogarty, and so this was published in 2018, but I just discovered it in 2020, and I really love this deck because, for one, it's nice and little and cute, and I really love the simplicity of it as well, and just, yeah, the imagery and the symbols, because, you know, many of us that are intuitive people and read signs and symbols in life, that's how, you know, looking at just simple things or the imagery and the symbols is yeah, a great way to connect. So these are really beautiful cards. It shows the houses, the planets, the astrology signs, and it's a great way to get to know the little glyphs as well that relate to each sign and planet. So it's a great, really, in that sense, it's a really great learning tool as well. And I really love the fact that this deck has earth in it, because so many decks don't have earth in it. It's like we're always looking outside of ourselves, but you know, just to remember that we're a planet as well, and to focus on us is kind of important, because this is where we are, this is our home. So I feel like, yeah, in lots of astrology decks, earth, our home planet, is missing. And then it's got the seasons as well, which is just so beautiful, to include the seasons, because of course that relates to, how can you not have the seasons in there? You know, that's the cycle of life. That is our earth planet. So it's really important that they're included as well. So yeah, I mean, that's just a quick little. And in the deck, it also has, it shows you the first half and the second half of the season and what energies they sort of relate to. So it doesn't come with a book as such, but it comes with this little pamphlet that just gives you like a smidgen of information, which is really cool. Because also, again, lots of intuitive people, you know, often we don't really, we just go off our own personal read or off a keyword or something like that. So we're not necessarily going into books and reading to find the meaning of the, you know, what the author's written about the card. We can just sort of feel into that. So sometimes it's great just to have something with not as much information, because then you go on your own feeling and exploration as well. You just bounce off that keyword, the imagery, and the symbol. So yeah, this is a really cute little deck. And I like it a lot. Even the name, the Living Wheel, is just perfect. So then the other one that I really like, and I used a lot in readings for people in 2020, was this Oracle, which probably many of you have heard of and have. It's this Earth Magic book by Stephen D. Farmer. So I love, again, that it's a deck that's based on Earth and Earth magic. And again, it's really the simplicity of this deck, I think, that is beautiful and that stands out. So, you know, just the name and then a keyword. And I guess that it's earth-based and connects in with nature and animals is really beautiful. And so, yeah, just the simplicity of it again. And I find too in readings that it's very spot on as well. This card's gorgeous. This card is really potent, and that came up a lot in 2020 as well, which I thought was really both interesting and powerful, especially considering what was going on in the energy of that year around DNA. So yeah, I feel like this is really just a great deck just to pull a card and just connect in with the energy. Let's pull one for us right now. So let's see what we've got. Today's the 8th of January 2021. Let's see what message comes forward for us that we need to be aware of right now. So just a card for the collective. And for whoever's connecting with this video, what is the Earth Magic card we need right now? It's actually this one. Summer Solstice Radiance. So with this one to me is just speaking about remembering your I am presence in the world, connecting in with and being the light. So this morning I was thinking about Leos, the sign of Leo, and I was feeling like into the fact that Leos just create their own sunshine wherever they go. Like that's one of their gifts. And yeah, that's really important at this time because of course we've still got challenge in the start of this year, and it would be very easy to get caught up in some things that aren't our best I am presence in the world. And we can see that if we, you know, look not too far, but just to tune out of what perhaps we're seeing that is not in our highest light, and taking that time to go within. So if you think of sunshine too as your solar plexus, so going in and breathing right down to your solar plexus, so hand on your belly button and feeling that oxygen breathe right down, like taking some deep breaths, because we've probably all been in that space a lot of the time, which was triggered by events of last year, and it was kind of purposely triggered as well. So that's something to keep in mind too about re-empowerment and remembering our own light and our own empowerment, and that we choose how we show up and how we shine in this world. And we can choose to show our best light in whatever situation. So I feel like that's the message of this card. But yeah, just that's like, I guess, a little example of how these cards can support your day-to-day with messages. The other deck that I've brought into my collection, which I found was really beautiful, is this Nature Whispers deck by Angela Hartfield and Josephine Wall. So yeah, the artwork's by Josephine, and I feel like, well, obviously the artwork is really what captured my attention in the first place. There was one card that I saw that just spoke to me so much. I just thought that is such a beautiful deck. And I've used this one in readings as well to support tarot and colour readings, and brought in this oracle to use, and I've just found every time it's just so beautiful. So it is a nurturing deck, and even though the imagery is quite beautiful, it doesn't mean that you're not going to look at the challenges of life as well, but you just look at them through the beauty, through the lens of the beauty of this deck. So the artwork is definitely what pulled me in. It's just so beautiful. This is also a card that came up a lot last year for people, catch your breath. So yeah, I mean, that's interesting as well when we think about, you know, some of the themes around oxygen that have been going on as well, and how important it is to take time out to connect with nature so we can feel like we can breathe and get some restoration. So yeah, I love this deck. And I guess the thing when we do have several decks in our collections, we don't, you know, I've kind of been pondering on this as well, like we don't, sorry, I should zoom in so you can see the images better. Yeah, I guess when you do have more decks in your collection, we don't perhaps, actually this is the card that I think I first saw of this deck, and it made me want to get it. Yeah, if we've got several decks in our collection, we might not get to work with them as often as we would if we only had like a few decks. So, you know, there's advantages and kind of disadvantages in a way of having lots of decks, you could say. But I'm sort of going into this year really mindful of that, and really wanting to find a deck that I feel like I can connect with. These are the decks that I want to work with the most. But I don't know. I mean, we can say one thing, but it can pan out another way. So this is another astrology deck that I really love by Susan Shepherd, and it's the Black Moon Astrology cards. And this is it's published by Blue Angel Publishing. It's just got this little book. So, I mean, to be honest, I haven't read a lot of this book at all. But the cards are very, I love the cards. I love the imagery and the keywords and the symbols. And the back of them's cool as well. So yeah, I feel like this is a really beautiful deck to have as well. And I use this one often in readings. And with this one too, I can use the numbers as well, just to add numerology as well to the reading. But yeah, so that's got your elements in there and houses. And you know, the fact that it has like Black Moon, Lilith as well, and things like Void Off, Course Moon, Missing, you know, the nodes, things like that. So again, it's another tool to support, you know, you've got Yod, Destiny. It's just another great tool just for learning and exploring and reading more into astrology. And the fifth oracle deck that I bought in 2020 is this gorgeous one, the Lemurian Star Child Oracle. And this is by Leanne Carpenter and Michael Kroon. So, divine guidance for the new paradigm. So for those of us that relate as with the energy of Lemuria and Atlantis and relate to being, you know, a star child or an indigo or something like that, that we know that we've got a particular mission here on Earth, this deck is really beautiful. I probably haven't used it as much as I thought I might, but I remember when I got it and it was just such a beautiful deck to open. You know how sometimes when you get a deck, or you might not know, but there's been several that I've opened that I've had an emotional response or just felt that they were really special. And this one was one of the ones that I felt was really special, probably even from an inner child perspective. Like, it was just that, I don't know, just that feeling of this is a treasure. So this is the book. It's a great book. It's got heaps in it, so a lot to work with. And it has different sections, so it's got 10 categories for the new paradigm. So it's got source, unity, journey, depth, structure, wisdom, cosmic insight, children of Lemuria, and dolphin codes. So I feel like this one is too a great deck for remembering. So remembering not to get caught up in things that basically aren't of our highest good. And you know, when I use these, I always feel like they have the, you know, they're just spot on as well. And just really beautiful messages to support people's individual journeys and where they're at right now. So we might even elven ones, cosmic heart source, purity. So it's really beautiful. It's just a beautiful energy deck to work with. So let's just see what Lemurian Star Child Oracle we get for us, for everyone that's connecting with this video. Just going to give a little message on a card that comes through of what's in our highest good for us to know right now. And perhaps it could go with that sun card that we got as well, the summer solstice, because, you know, when we think of that too, you know, that was the big energy shift that we had at the end of 2020 on the 21st to the 12th. That was the, you know, that time of summer solstice was, well, it was summer solstice in the hemisphere where I live. It might have been winter for you, but yeah, that was the time of the shift of energy, so it's really quite powerful. So I'll just do 3 more shuffles. That's too many. It's quite a big deck, so it is a bit of a challenge for me to shuffle. 1, start again, 1, 2, so awakening, know who you are, and DNA activation. So yeah, that's funny because, you know, I spoke about I pointed out the DNA card in the Earth Magic one, and then I was just speaking then about the awakening, the shift of energy, which is very much about what that 21/12/2020 energy was about. It was about that awakening and shift. Know who you are, and DNA activation. I could go more deeply into that DNA activation thing, and there's a reason why things have been happening on this planet that want to interfere with our DNA, and it's to do with the awakening. So there's, as icky as it is, there is forces on this planet that don't want us to reach our full potential of awakening, but that can't be stopped. That's happening anyway. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that. You can go into that as deep or not as deep as you want to, but just remember that we're still in this great time of awakening. And I did get that message from, and I posted on my alchemy page on Facebook the other day, and probably on Insta as well, I'm not sure, but when I was connecting with the energy of the 20 bottle, which is this one, which is awakening, I really got the message that we are at the beginning of this awakening. So it's like we're just beginning, which seems kind of funny to say because, I mean, because we've been working towards this time for so long, but yeah, we're just, it's an exciting time and a beginning, a new beginning. So a new beginning of awakening deeper into DNA activation, I guess. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the top 5 tarot decks that came into my possession in 2020. So the first one that I'll show you is the Mysteries of the Mary Tarot deck. It's by the beautiful Etienne Grobler, and she's based in South Africa. You can find her on Instagram and Facebook, and she does beautiful artworks and then creates them into decks. And it's all based on her connection and work with the Mysteries of Mary. So she makes sacred little shrines, and then, you know, photographs them and has made them into this this tarot deck. And I do believe she has a new tarot deck coming out, or it may have already come out as well. It might be called the Black Madonna. I'm not really sure. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure. So this is a really beautiful deck with some very poignant messages and stories and teachings within the book. Like I said, I haven't worked with this as much as I wanted to, or as much as I thought I would, especially during December. But the reason for that is just because energetically and also physically there's been so much going on and so much to tend to that I just haven't yet. But it's the life of a creative, isn't it? Because there's always so much that we're doing or we're learning or we're working on that it's hard to fit everything we want to do in. But yeah, it's a really beautiful deck, and the book is just the book is just a beautiful learning and connecting tool as well, or a resource to have. So the inner mysteries of journey of the soul, as portrayed by Mary. So it goes into history and some storytelling, and it kind of brings out truths that were lost or oppressed or suppressed over time. And yeah, it just takes you through the process of creating, you know, her creative process in connecting with the work and the energy of Mary. So here, for example, it's got Our Lady, the Tree of Life. She is a tree of life for those who hold her fast. Those who cling to her live happy lives. And that's from Proverbs 1:18-19. And then it goes to talk about the goddess and the divine feminine have always been linked to trees. So it's really bringing to the forefront the divine feminine as well, and just giving her the space, energy and respect that she deserves, really. And lots of you who may already work with or know the energy of Mary, you might have an understanding of how beautiful that and healing and comforting that energy is. So yeah, this is came all the way from South Africa. And also when you order your deck, Hertene includes some other beautiful things to go with it as well. So they feel like, you know, little treasures, and also that you can set up your own shrine with those things, or, you know, have it in your sacred space or your altar space or whatever you like to call it. So another deck that I'm going to include in my top 5 tarot is the Cat Tarot. And, you know, when I originally bought this, I thought, I'm getting that for my inner child. Okay, you might call me a crazy cat lady. I did have 6 cats, but in December, our boy cat Albert passed away suddenly and unexpectedly here at home. So we have 5 cats with us now. But, you know, and when I first got this deck, I thought I wouldn't use this deck seriously in people's readings, but I've kind of changed my mind big time about that, and I actually would. And I've used this to I've used this deck. I've even got these cards still on top. Okay, so when my cat Albert passed away, I got this deck out, and I wanted to connect with him and ask his spirit for a message. And this is the message that he sent. So he had the Sun, he had the Knight of Wands, and also the Lovers. So between those 3 cards, I got the message that he's okay, he's happy, he felt very loved in the time, you know, even in how he was passing away here at home. He was surrounded in love, and now also he gets to play in a different realm. So these 3 cards actually just gave me so much peace on that day after so much grief and sadness at the sudden loss of him. But yeah, so, and also too, I have another cat who, actually I adopted this cat on the same time that I adopted Albert, who passed away. I adopted them both on the same day. That cat, Evie, is actually, she's in palliative care at the moment because of a diagnosis that she received halfway through 2020. And I've also used readings to connect with her, to get messages from her at times where she's really being quite unwell, and I didn't know whether she was gonna stick around or whether she was gonna leave, and I was able to get messages from this deck. So I realized the power in this deck, and to take it seriously, even though I should be showing you some pictures, even though some of the imagery can be quite comical and funny, there is actually really a serious and true messages that you can get from this deck, which are really beautiful. So that is why I'm including this in my top 5. I actually really do have an emotional connection to this deck now, which makes it special, because with our decks, you know, having a connection with it, or an understanding, or a relationship, because you think about this is what we're using to divine and connect with the divine, and also to connect with guides, or you know, or our loved ones. So that's important, to have that connection and that relationship. And I mean, this is just so sweet. So yeah, I mean, that was a good learning curve for me, to not say, oh, I never use this deck in a serious reading for someone. I actually would. And this sort of also made me realize that I can do readings for animals as well, and connect with animals. It's not just about people necessarily, it's about tuning into the animals around us as well. So the Justice card. Yeah, so that's why this one has made it into the top 5 of my tarot cards. It's just really cute. So at first I thought I was just buying it for my inner child, and my inner child does love it, no doubt. But I also take it seriously and respect it as well. So it has this cute little book, and it's just got some little, not too much reading, but yeah, just enough. So I like it. This one was illustrated by Megan Lynn Cott, and it's so cute. So there's that one. And next one is the Muse Tarot by Chris Ann. I really love this deck. This is a Hay House publication, and the funny thing with this one is that one day I just felt called to get a deck. I really just felt the need to go out and purchase a deck that day. So we don't really have anywhere. Well, we do have one shop in town where you could get decks from. But anyway, I went into that shop and there was no decks. Like, they were all... I even asked her, I said, do you have any oracle or tarot decks in store? And she said, no, we don't have any at the moment, and she was waiting on getting some. And I was like, okay then. So I went to walk out the shop, and then in the front window, before I was just walking out the door, this caught my eye. So I just picked it up and thought, yes, I'll be getting that one. And I was so happy because it just felt perfect to me, and I really love it. It's such a great card deck for intuitive readings. The backs are beautiful. They just remind me of the divine feminine energy, and I just love the imagery as well. And I find that they can be quite easy to read off without looking at a book for any information, but it could be different for everyone. But I just love love them. There's a bit of a collagey feel to them, of course, and I just love the colours and the energy of them. So I was so happy that day that there was that deck, and I found it in the window, even though I was told that there was no decks in the shop. I was just like, ooh, there's that one waiting there for me. So yeah, this one is one that I've used a lot, and I like it. Yeah. It really feels like a modern deck as well, but also, I don't know, it feels modern and classic at the same time. But sorry, you can hear background noises, my neighbours. But yeah, it's gorgeous. And I really love this one with the planets. But yeah, it's a great deck for creative people, I guess, and intuitive readers as well. But when I say creative people, really, that really includes everyone, because everyone's creative, whether they recognize it or not. So I really feel, even just like looking at the back, this is about growth and beauty, and yeah, it's really just feels like divine feminine energy of working from that heart center of unconditional love as well. So the next one, now I think this came into my collection in 2020, it's hard to really remember because everything seems a bit blurred sometimes, but I'm pretty sure it came in 2020, so or into my collection in 2020. So the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, Linnea Weatherstone, and illustrated by Marilla Allwood. And yeah, I mean, this is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And it's got this beautiful book. And this is another deck that I really appealed to my inner child as well. Oh, just because it... Sorry, I was just smelling the book, don't mind me. You know how it is, I'm sure. It just, because of the coloured illustrations, it's just that beautiful memory of childhood and looking at colour books. And this probably is the image that got me... When I first saw this image, I wanted this deck, and that's the Council of Animals. So those of you who know me know that I'm a strong advocate for animal rights. And yeah, so working with the energy of animals and in connection with them and walking in harmony with them is very important. So I love decks that have animals in them. So, but yeah, this is just a really gorgeous, like a fairy tale deck, a fairy tale fae deck. And it's just beautiful. So you can see why it appeals to the inner child. And it's just a great deck for storytelling, because I often, when I'm doing readings for people, I say, let's see what this story tells when I'm pulling the cards, because in a way it is telling a story, and in a way our lives are like stories, and we get to choose our own adventure, and we get to sometimes look into what path we might take, or what could happen, or how could we intervene, or what path could we choose that might take us down a different way, rather than, you know, going the other way, which might not be in our highest good. And that's kind of sometimes, you know, why we do work with these cards, to get that, to get the insight. So yeah, and I've edged this one in this teal color, which goes really beautifully with the cards. So yeah, that's one of my favorites, but I usually keep this one also. I don't keep it in the box. I usually keep this deck in this bowl that my partner made. So lots of my decks are sitting in wooden bowls, so it's kind of like that. So yeah, that's that one. Oh, sorry, I was just thinking too, like, when I was looking at this, I was just like, that's, you know, it's got the swans there, and it's, I think that's, sorry, I didn't show you. That's another thing about working with cards and things like that, is it gives us a chance to reflect and look inward, and perhaps be able to see ourselves in a truer light than we might be seeing, and also have things reflected back to us of what we might, what might be blocking us right now or standing in our way, and also showing us our highest potential as well. So then the last, but definitely not least, one that's my favourite that came into my possession in 2020. Actually, my partner got me this one for Christmas. So is this Witch's Wisdom Tarot by Phyllis Currott and artwork by Danielle Barlow. So this one's a really gorgeous one, and I love how it's got the fox there. I love foxes. It says, magic of feather, song and air, awaken, inspire and make aware. Magic of claw, hearth and fire, warm, enliven and inspire. Magic of fin, womb and water, love and dreams conjure. Magic of fur, seed and earth, embody, nourish and give birth. Magic within and around, awaken, spirits answers and guidance taken. And then it's got this beautiful little book, the Witch's Wisdom Tarot Guidebook. And it's got those gorgeous forest imagery, and sorry, I had to smell the book again. Smells good. This is just a great little book, easy to read, gives you enough information. If you want to just open it up and get a quick look, you can just look here to a fire. So that's beyond fear, and then the essence of the card, it gives you a quick sentence there. So yeah, there's enough information in this book and not too much. So in other words, it's a good and easy read. So yeah, and then on the bottom of the deck it says, ask your question, shuffle the cards, open the book and take a look. Spirit hears what's in your heart and answers with love, wisdom and art. So that's really gorgeous. And it comes with this little bag. These are the backs. I would like to edge this deck at some point, but you know, these things take time and there's already so much to do. But the imagery in this deck is beautiful, and also the messages that come through with readings is also, I find, very beautiful. And of course it connects to the earth and to nature and the animals, the natural wisdom and ways of the world. So that to me feels very much in alignment. And working with the ancestors. I did actually change a couple of, I did modify this deck. I changed a couple of cards in this deck because, and I know it could be controversial and people might judge why I did that and think whatever, which is partly why I didn't really share that I did that, because I couldn't be bothered with being judged for it. I just wanted to do it for me because I wanted to, and it's my deck, and yeah, it was just something to do with, I'll see if I can find them. And what I did was I put a bit of clothing on a couple of the women, and it wasn't that I am adverse to showing a woman's body or anything like that, and if you've seen some of my paintings about Gaia, you will know I don't have any qualms about that at all. But it was just more the way it was painted, like, or the artwork was. I really love this card, Council of All Beings. It just wasn't for me, so I changed it. And that's okay, because when we get our decks, we can change them to, or modify them to however we want, and that's okay. So I'm trying to get them to show you, but you can see here that they're beautiful, beautiful artwork, and I really do love it. It was just the way the boobs it was just the way the boobs were drawn, that I was just like, so it was this one, Goddess of Earth. I put a little top on her, which I kind of think I did an alright job. But it just, then this card was easier for me to look at, basically. And I don't know if it was just because it was, I don't know what it was. You could look into this as deeply as you wanted to. I am an air sign, so overanalyzing is something I can do quite well. But yeah, this just made it more pleasing to me when I'm working with it. So, and there was the other one too. But yeah, like I said, I really love the messages that come through, and this is a deck that I will be working closely with, because I do, like I said at the start when I was talking about oracle cards, I really do want to, rather than have lots of decks that you don't get time to, or I don't get time to connect with properly, I would honestly rather have several that I really connect with and want to work with. But see, having said that, it's nice to have choice and variety as well. And for me personally, I originally started getting decks as part of my self-care practice. You know, it's sort of to me like, because I remember being little and like in primary school when we used to get book club and things like that, and how fun that was, how exciting that was. And I think it sort of is the same feeling for a lot of us adults when we get a deck, because you're getting all this beautiful artwork. So this is the card that I changed myself. She didn't have a top and I just put that little top on. And like I said before, it was just, I'm not adverse to nudity or anything like that. It was just the way, more the way it was drawn that wasn't sitting right with me. But I think I did okay. But, you know, each to their own around how you would like to keep your card. A lot of people would prefer it just natural and without that clothing, and I totally get that. But yeah, so like getting the, you know, when we get our deck, it's like we get this whole series of just gorgeous artwork, and we get a book as well. So it feels like book club to me. But yeah, so that is my top 5 tarot and oracle from 2020, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will try and do some other videos. I just need to think of some ideas of what to do, but I will see you next time. Thanks for joining. Bye. Oh, before I go, remember, if you want to join us in the Alchemy Academy, you can. I will pop the details in the description below. It is a group that's run via Facebook, off my Facebook page, which is Lulu's Heart-Centered Alchemy. Please give my video a like if you watched this and you got anything out of it at all. Please give it a like, because that just encourages me to make another video, basically. Thank you. Bye.